actually going to be putting together some seed starting mix. I will be starting some okra seeds today. This is going to be my last seed starting mix that I put together for the spring, summer. Ooh, sorry, a wasp. I don't like wasps. But this will be my last seed starting mix that I put together for my spring, summer seeds. And okra seeds are the very last seeds that I start. I have everything else ready, growing perfectly, and waiting to go out into the garden. As of right now, you can see my greenhouse is kind of overcrowded at the moment because we have some freezing temperatures that are going to be moving in between tonight to Tuesday night. Today is Sunday, so between tonight and Tuesday night. Right now we are actually at about 82 degrees where I'm located, and we're going to drop down into the 30s tonight. So I had to protect what needed to be protected, so that's why they're all in pots so they can move in and out of my greenhouse as needed. And hopefully this is going to be the last time they'll need to come in here. My estimated last frost date is actually March 20th, which is about the same as last year. So I'm going to go ahead and right now we're going to get started with the seed starting mix, and I will bring you right back once I get everything set up. The ingredients that I use, and please, this is just something that I use. It works for me, so this is what I use. If you would like to try it, use it, you're more than welcome to. I do know that a lot of people use different seed starting mixes. A lot of people mix their own. I mix my own, but at the same time it's from bags of stuff that's already put together. But I will show that to you as we go. The first thing I'm going to need, that you'll need, I use Purolite. A lot of people add vermiculite. The soils that I use are really well at retaining moisture, but they're not so great at draining out moisture, and the Purolite is great for drainage. Vermiculite is really good for retaining the moisture in them. So we're also going to use 1 bag of Miracle-Gro. I know a lot of people do not like to grow with Miracle-Gro, but again, I've used this for years and years. This has worked great for me, so this is what I'm going to continue to use. The only thing that I do is I sift this before I add it into my seed starting mixture, because I get all the little pieces of bark and things like that out of it. And then we're also going to add Jiffy seed starting mix. You can use Jiffy organic seed starting mix if you want to get some peat moss or something like that. You can also use that. It's basically the same thing. The same with Coco Core, any of that. It's just Jiffy's cheap. It was on sale, so that's what I got. Alright, as you can see, I actually do have a little bit of seed starting mix left in here, but this is kind of older. It's still moist and good, and I can still use this, but I'm going to go ahead and just mix together some new right on top of this. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut open the Jiffy bag here, and I'm just going to dump it straight into my bucket. Now I like to use just a plastic container to mix all of this in. It's just easier. I have a lid to go on this so I can keep it moist if it needs to be. I can keep it separated from my other soil mixtures, so that's why I do that. And you can see, real loamy, it's dry, but it's really good, and it has just a little bit of vermiculite already in it. And then to sift out the pieces of bark and the things that are big inside of here, I try to use what I have at the house. So in this case, I just have a plastic food strainer that you can get from the Walmart, dollar store, any of that. So I'm just going to use that. I set it in the bottom of here, and I just do a little bit at a time. It is time consuming, but it's great in the end. The pieces of bark that are in here that I end up sifting out, I'll actually just go throw those in one of my garden beds. That way I don't have to worry about wasting any of that. Because as you can see, it's got pretty big pieces, not too many, but some nice sized pieces of bark that I don't really want in my seed starting mix. And then as you can see, it just kind of, it falls down through the holes into the bottom. And this is all I do, is just sit here and sift through it. It takes a little bit, like I said, it takes a little bit to sift through the bag, but in the end, I promise you, it is worth it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sift through this bag really quick, have the soil added down in here, and I'll bring you back once I can get ready to add the Purolite. Alright, we got the pieces of bark, the big pieces of bark and everything sifted out, and as you can see, it's just a real fluffy mixture that we're left with. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add Purolite. Now, in my previous video, I believe it was on the All About Tomatoes video, I said I use 1 bag of peat moss per 1 bag of potting mix, and then I kind of eyeball the Purolite. And that's what I mean by the bags that I used was 8 quarts of, it's 12 quarts of the Jiffy Dry seed starting mix and 8 quarts of the Miracle-Gro potting mix. And then what I'll do is I'll just use a plastic cup and scoop in some Purolite, and I'll just kind of, I'll add maybe 3 cups until I mix it around. 2, 3. Now we'll take and we're going to mix this around to see if it's kind of the consistency that we like. And it is, just for everyone to know, the Miracle-Gro that I'm using, it is a potting mix, so it does have some fertilizer in there. And the reason that I like to use it is because what it does, it allows me to go a little bit longer before I have to actually start feeding my plants. So they can have a couple sets of true leaves on them before I can actually start the what do you call it, the fertilization process that I usually go by. And it takes me, after they have about 3 sets of true leaves, that's when I'll start fertilizing. So that's usually about a month into them growing, maybe a little more. So it really it depends. So alrighty, let's see, it looks like we need a little bit more Purolite. So for those 2 bags, it looks like we may end up with about 6 cups of Purolite that we're going to use. And again, these are just the hefty plastic cups that we have. And this is going to be 3. And that is going to be about it that we need for this. Because that's going to put me at the consistency that I want. Or the ratio that I want from soil to Purolite. There we go. Okay. Alright, that has me at the consistency that I want. The Miracle-Gro was already a little damp. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of water into here to kind of dampen things up just a little bit more. And I'm not worried about fungus or really anything growing inside of this, because I will end up using the seed starting mix somewhere else if I don't start seeds with it. So either that, or I'll just kind of open it and let it dry out some, so that I can save it for later and use it when I'm going to do my winter sowing. So, alrighty. You know, again, I'm sorry about the wind, the noise from the wind. It's crazy. We have some storms that are going to be moving in tonight. So what is it like in y'all's area? Like I said, I know here we can go from 80 degrees to 30 degrees in a 24-hour time period. I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone today, and she's not originally from here, and she was just like, the Mississippi weather is something else. She's been here for about 3 years, I know, and I told her, I said, yep, girl, the Mississippi weather ain't nothing to joke or play with, because it's bipolar, I like to say. It don't know what it wants to do in the same day. Alrighty. So there we go. The soil's nice and moist. It holds together if you need it to, but it's not dripping wet, and it still crumbles at the same time. So this is going to be perfect consistency to fill up my trays to start my okra seeds. Let's get the trays so we can start our okra seeds. I'm going to need, I think I'm going to do about 24 plants. So we're going to start 4 of these little trays. And what I do is kind of add the soil into there. Now this is going to be the only time that I will really pack the soil down into the trays. I just take my 2 fingers, pack it, and then I'll add some more back on top. And then I am just kind of evening it out on top to make it to where the soil is level with the tray. And that's all I do. So the bottom is packed in. There's no air pockets. These trays are really good because of the side slits that are in them and the hole in the bottom. They air prune the roots really well, and it's made it very easy for me to transplant these into bigger pots or to transplant them right out into the garden. So this is one tray done. We'll go ahead and work on the other 3. Let's see here. You can see what I'm doing. The sifter didn't work too great, did it? Yeah, I have to really look into getting me a good quality sifter. It's just I've used the one from my kitchen for so long, and no, I do not bring it back inside and use it in the kitchen before somebody asks. That is strictly for my garden. I have a brand new one, or a new one, a metal one, I use this inside. So, but I'm going to eventually purchase one that's for soil. So that's on the list to do one day. I just have so many other projects that are prioritized right now, so that's not really at the top of any of them. Alrighty, so there we've got it straightened out. Nice and pretty. Soil is even. You know, I have some OCD on this. That it just has to be even and perfect. If it's not, it drives me nuts. So, there we go. Alright. It's nice and even. That's 2 trays done. And I just I have my hand flat and just rubbing it across the top to get rid of the excess, and then kind of just shifting it down to make sure it's even on there. Just like so. It's 3 trays. And then 4 trays. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, and like I said, what we're going to start today is actually going to be okra seeds. These are going to be okra seeds that I've saved from my garden from last year. So I know they're going to work really well in my garden this year because they're a little bit more accustomed to my climate since they grew in my climate from last year. Alright everyone, so I'm actually going to be growing these right here. These are the Haas Jambalaya 2.0 okra. This is going to be the only pack from seeds from a pack that I grow, and the rest of them are going to be these right here. These are actually long pods. They are a cross between Heavy Hitter, which is from Rare Seeds, or Baker Creek. Who else? They are also some Jing Orange. There is some Clemson Spineless, and then some Okinawa Pink. They're just all mixed in here. I like to be surprised on my okra. We eat it all, so it doesn't really matter to me what brand, what it is. We'll still eat it because I make a lot of fried okra, gumbo, things like that. So I'm just going to plant 2 trays with this, and then 2 trays with the Jambalaya 2.0. And for okra, there are some people that like to soak their okra seeds for a couple hours before they plant. I don't do that, and the reason that I don't do that is because I will actually let them soak in water itself, like inside the pot, when I plant them. Sorry y'all, it's getting dirt under my nails, so just figured it'd be better to do this. So I just kind of go down with it, make me a little hole to put the okra seeds in. So, like I said, my seeds just go in straight like this. It does take them a little longer to germinate doing it this way, but I really don't mind. It doesn't bother me, and I've gotten excellent germination from doing it this way. This is how I plant them every year. If you prefer to soak them, that's great. You can definitely do that, but like I said, this is just my preferred method because it's a little less. Some things I can be lazy at, so go ahead and put that out there. On some things I can be lazy at, and that soaking seeds is one of them. I never soak my pea seeds, my okra seeds, any of the seeds that you should technically soak. I won't do it. Alrighty, so this packet says it has 50 seeds in here. Ooh, it has a label. Yay. On this label I have to write. So I'm going to do right that. And I will take and just put 2 pods in each hole. For reference, if you have a pencil, I just go about halfway down the eraser part. So on the metal piece, it's about halfway onto the metal. That's how far down I go with it, with the hole. So just to kind of give you a reference of how deep my holes are. 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Like I said, I'm going to do 2 trays of these because I haven't grown these before, so I'm interested to see how they do here. I know the other ones do really, really well here in my climate, which okra really grows really well here anyway. Okra, I know in my area with okra, the soil doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it can grow in some of the worst soil that you have. Well, for me it does. If I give it more nutrients, it doesn't tend to do so great with a lot of nutrients. But when I put it in really bad soil, just like out in the yard, it grows excellent. So I've found that out over the years. And then on these, I'm just doing the same. I'm just adding 2 seeds to each hole. And this should give me about 24 plants. That'd be more than enough because they do tend to be trees around here. We're not talking small okra plants here. I think last year my okra plants got to be, the tallest one was probably a good 6 foot, 7 foot. That's just how they get here. I cut the bottom leaves off of them as they go, which kind of turns them into little okra trees, but I'll bring you along as I do that and show you how I go about cutting the leaves off. It keeps a cleaner plant, helps to reduce diseases and stuff like that. So now all I'm going to do is just cover back over them. Cover and fill in my little hole back in. And like I said, it does take them a little longer to germinate this way, but I have time. I'm nowhere near ready for these to go into the garden yet, because okra is a very heat-loving plant. So the soil needs to at least be above 70 before these go out, or they just will not thrive. So that's all these. Alrighty, all done. Those are covered. I'm going to take my trusty water bottle just to spray the top a little bit, since my soil is already moist, just to kind of lay down the dirt and the dust that may be on the top, and to get them that initial drink of water. And I'll go back and add labels. Alrighty. Alrighty, so this is my last seed starting for 2026 spring summer season. I may have some additional tomatoes that I may start later on, but that'll be more for a fall planting as opposed to a spring or summer planting. But my peppers are doing great. The Roselle or Jamaican Sorrel or Jamaica is doing great. All my flowers are wonderful. So everything's doing great. We're just waiting for the cold snap to kind of pass. So once that passes, we'll be good to go. And that's going to be it for today. So I really encourage each of you, if you like the video and you want to follow me on my journey to turn my backyard into what I consider a little piece of paradise, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and follow me on this journey. If you like what you see, if you have any comments, anything like that, please leave them below. I will respond. And if you have any suggestions of something you may think would fit into my backyard that I may like, I really appreciate those as well. And I hope everyone has a great week.